Well, okay.
Good morning, One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. Please join me in welcoming our musical talent and inspiration and all around wonderful person, Jesse Powers. Kick us off with some music, Jesse.
Oh my gosh, showering me with self-esteem boosters this morning. Thank you.
Love you. We love you. You're our very own little Joni Mitchell.
Oh my. Thank you. All right, this song is about gratitude. Another reason for the season. Don't you let yourself fall in again. Your name ain't Alice. Keep your feet flat on the floor. Take a breath and take a break before you chase the rabbit. It's a bad habit, but gratitude is the cure. Just be thankful for all that we're given. Thankful for the joy that we're living. I'm thankful for all we've been given, oh Lord. I'm so thankful for all of the blessings. Thankful for the well-learned lessons. I'm thankful for all of the blessings, oh Lord. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful. Thankful. Overflowing with the gift of life. Yeah, I'm a vessel richer than the Queen of Hearts. 'Cause I know the quickest way to Wonderland is standing in the present. You don't always have to struggle through the dark. Just be thankful for all we've been given. Thankful for the joy that we're living. I'm thankful for all we've been given, oh Lord. I'm so thankful for all of the blessings. Thankful for the well-learned lessons. I'm thankful for all of the blessings, oh Lord. I'm so thankful. Thankful. Okay, now I'm gonna teach you a part. It's super easy. It goes like this. Thankful. Sing that. Thankful. Keep going. Oh, I'm thankful, so thankful. I'm so thankful. One more time. I'm thankful, so thankful, yeah. Thankful. And I'm thankful for all we've been given. Thankful for the joy that we're living. I'm thankful for all we've been given, oh Lord. I'm so thankful for all of the blessings. Thankful for the well-learned lesson. I'm thankful for all of the blessings, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. I'm thankful. Thankful.
Woo-hoo!
Oh,
Thankful. I'm thankful for you. That was awesome.
thank you. My friend Kathy is holding her dog Mocha.
Aw.
Oh,
Oh,
baby. Hey, sweet girl.
oh, we're dog lovers.
Thankful
We
for
love us
dogs.
and cat lovers, I should say. Rob's got lots of cats. Dog and cat lovers, pet lovers. Well, good morning. That was a wonderful way to get us started. And I want to invite our wonderful practitioner of the day, Lissa Lazaro, to, I don't know, give us a few words and pray us in.
Okay. I apologize for my lateness. My clock didn't ring right.
Well, you
I,
are here now, and that's all that
right,
really
yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I loved that song, and it was perfect. that we struggle in the dark, but thank you for the blessing of that, because that's kind of been my week. I've been struggling in the dark in my spiritual life. I it's like normally at this season of the year, I really pick up the vibe, all the kindness and the love and the good stuff. And I'm afraid that the incidents of last weekend made me have a big stumble on the road. And I kind of fell into a compassion trap or a grief trap, but it was just very internally painful. And I couldn't seem to shake it for quite some time. No matter I try all my practices, et cetera, et cetera. But I have to say, the whole time I knew the light was there, and uh, that caused me to think of other things. And one of the things was, for whatever reason, things kept coming up on my feed about the Holocaust. And there was one story in particular that was just amazing to me, for many reasons. But, essentially, that somehow these people they held on to life, even though this thing happened. It's very odd. A Nazi officer decided to rescue a family because when they were picking them up down the road from him, he recognized them, and so he brought them home and he put them in his basement, and they lived there for 3 years, even after. And he had to protect them when the SS came to check out the house. He built a partition, a tight partition, and they passed out, but they were still alive after they went. And subsequently, he sold, toward the end of the war, he sold everything in order to get them across the border. To cross Switzerland. And they ended up finally in New York. And it was just, to me, it was an amazing story, not only in terms of the gift of love that was there from him, but the survival of the family, because they had to keep quiet, and there were two kids who had to keep quiet and not go outside. And so it was an incredible. But it caused me to think about that and the kinds of things that people go through, but hold on somehow internally to that light that is always, always there. And so then today, this morning, earlier, I was looking up solstice, and I realized that concept of that, solstice comes, and you have the longest night and the shortest day, and then gradually the light begins to emerge. But as that cycle goes around, some days it's still darker than others. And so it's kind of like that sense of really internalizing that the light is always there, and that it's okay for me to fall into a hole, because I know I will come out of it, because the light is always there.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that basically is what I wanted to say to you today. And so maybe we could now pray. Divine light, thank you for bringing us together as a spiritual family to celebrate and embody our heartfelt connection to you and to each other, because we are one. Unique interpretations of your infinite gifts. I know that each of us, every person within the sound of my voice, will gratefully enjoy their special inner gifts of the season. And I am grateful knowing that Reverend Michelle's words are guided by spirit, and along with Jesse's music, this service brings us all to a deeper awareness of that light within. And so I'm so grateful for the truth of my words. And I'm so grateful that we do have the opportunity to celebrate together. And I release my words into the law by saying, and so it is.
So it is.
The one thing I forgot to mention is that one thing that began to pull me out was that for whatever reason, I decided to listen to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Oh,
And it was like the incredible joy and love of that singing, in addition to which, it's all the roots of my childhood with the songs themselves. But that was another reminder of the light's always there. Here is our affirmation. The light of the one life is alive in me now. It expresses its clarity, wholeness, and infinite possibility. I recognize this divine light in every person and every unfolding moment. I allow the light within me to guide me on my way, expressing as my good. And so it is.
So it is.
So it is. That was beautiful, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that with
Thank
all
you.
of us.
The last thing I want to mention is that I know
Sure.
that I was upheld and guarded and blessed by the prayer group, that they were holding me in their light.
Oh. And all of us in your spiritual community. I know I have been. So yes, wonderful. Jessie,
Hello.
what you got, girl?
Well, I've got a song about light. Come on now. You know I do.
I know you do.
I wrote this song. I've played it maybe once this year, but maybe twice. But I wrote this song last year during the holiday season, and it was about letting the light of the season shine through you and the light of God shine through you, which is the same thing. Let the light come through like a door wide open. Let it all be new. All that once was broken. Let the light come through like a hearth in winter. Let it fill the room, ever warm and tender. It lives in me, it lives in you. So let the light come through. Let the light come through like a sacred morning, all hope renewed. See the world transforming, illuminate the places in the dark, and let your life be like a blazing star. Remember that the light is where you are. It lives in me, it lives in you. So let the light come through. Hey, let the light come through. There's no need for hiding. It was always you. Ever golden shining, illuminate the places in the dark, and let your life be like a blazing star. Remember that the light is where you are. It lives in me, it lives in So let the light come through.
Just beautiful. Just beautiful. And so, so perfect for what we're talking about today, for today's message. Oh, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. We love it when you're here. Oh, so good morning. One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living, and happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and happy winter solstice. We were talking about this earlier that today, as we continue our month's walk in the light, we've been talking about light all month. We know together that our spiritual center is this expanding point of light and love in the world, and that these winter holidays serve to remind us of the collective vision that we hold as a spiritual community. So, whether you're here in real time or you're listening to the replay, I just want you to know that we welcome you in this virtual space. And we're so glad that you're here, however you're connecting. So as I said, we have two holidays coming up this week. However, today's the last day when you light the candle on the menorah for Hanukkah, and tomorrow I think is the last day of Hanukkah. But even though we talked about Hanukkah last week, we can still celebrate that as well, just for another day. And today, of course, is winter solstice, which is the first day of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. And the hours of light are the shortest that they will be all year, and the hours of darkest are the longest. I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and somebody said, "Well, this is the shortest day of the year," and he said, "Well, no, there's still 24 hours." So it's just that the light is shorter and the darkness is longer. And now the earth, as Lissa pointed out to us, now's the time when the earth begins to move towards, I like to think of it as the promise of more life, more light and new life. And on Thursday, of course, Christians all over the globe are celebrating Christmas and the birth of Jesus the Christ. However, Christmas isn't only a Christian holiday anymore. It's become a much more secular holiday. You don't have to be Christian to celebrate Santa Claus and the elves and families coming together. It's a time to graciously give and receive, a time of general good cheer, really. And of course, as metaphysicians, we don't celebrate Christmas as the birth of a savior, but we do celebrate Christmas metaphorically as a symbol of the Christ consciousness being reborn within us all. And all of the winter holidays really serve as reminders. They can be living metaphors for our personal lives. They give us an opportunity to kind of pause and reflect and to connect more deeply with our inner selves and with each other, to weave the wisdom and the love and the joy of the holidays into our lives in a very personal way, in a very intimate way. So what I'd like to do today is to bring fresh new meaning to our valued traditions and our holidays, our winter holidays, and maybe offer some practical application for living their meaning. To wake that up in us. Because I always say spiritual principles are great, but if we don't apply them, then they're lost on us. We have to apply them to live them. So let's start with solstice, since that's today. In our contemporary culture, we don't really celebrate the winter solstice. We give it kind of a nod of acknowledgement as the first day of winter and the day with the shortest hours of light, but that's really about it. However, It was a major event in the lives of our ancestors all over the globe and all across time. People have celebrated winter solstice with a real reverence and with ritual. Even before written history, people tracked the sun with remarkable accuracy because they knew that solstice was this pivotal event that mattered deeply in their lives. They lived close to the cycles of the earth. And it also had a deep spiritual meaning for them. There were many customs and rituals woven in and around the solstice. And they celebrated the earth and her cycles as this sacred expression of the divine. And we can too. Even though most of us today, many of us, most of us, probably most of us live in urban communities, the sun still rises and sets, and we still feel the hours of light shorten and then lengthen, wherever we live. We're all still connected to the Earth's natural cycles. And we can think of winter solstice as a reminder that we're not only divine, but that we are also thoroughly human. We tend to give a lot of attention to connecting with our inner divinity through our spiritual practices, as well we should. But I think it's also important for us to honor our humanness, to recognize our unity with all of creation. I don't know about you, but when I walk in the forest, I can feel my connection, or sit and watch the ocean, I feel that connection. And solstice is that moment, that reminder to take a sacred pause, to be like that seed that rests in the dark soil, just waiting for something to stir in it so it can sprout and take new form. When we take that sacred pause, we can find that aliveness of spirit, of love within us too. And then we can watch it emerge as our human lives who are living in a physical world, a physical reality. Our humanness requires periods of quiet and rest and renewal. And we can follow nature's example and take that sacred pause. Because we know that the light and the love of creation doesn't only come from the outside. It comes from the infinite light, just as Lissa told us, the infinite light of the divine within us. And winter solstice honors that continuing promise of new light, growing brighter and brighter within us to create something new and wonderful in our lives. And one of the things I personally can learn from winter solstice is to rest, to be able to take a rest without feeling guilty. Like many of us, I tend to be a doer. And I kind of feel guilty when I'm not doing. I'm working on it. But solstice reminds us that taking a rest isn't just slacking off or taking a break from life. It's actually a part of life. It's part of the order and the balance and the wisdom of life. Nature pauses. Trees withdraw their energy. The leaves fall off. The soil, lays fallow. We have a big field outside, and it wasn't until the rain came that it started to grow, but it was just plain dirt for so long. It just laid there. It took a rest. And nature doesn't apologize for resting either, which is a great reminder for us in a culture that tends to measure our worth by our actions and our productivity. We seem to honor outside accomplishments much more than moments of just quiet contemplation and self-reflection. But a balanced life, it requires both. Both are necessary. And sometimes I have to remind myself that being is as sacred as doing. We are human beings, right? We need time to rest physically, emotionally, spiritually. Rest restores our clarity, renews our creativity, realigns us with our divinity, which then expresses as our human lives. Otherwise, we just get burned out And what do we say? We can't give from an empty vessel. We have to rest and renew. And that's why most spiritual traditions have a Sabbath. Taking a Sabbath is a powerful spiritual practice. I have to remind myself to do it. I actually have to make myself do it. But that's okay. I always enjoy it when I do. Another good reminder from solstice is to trust the cycles of life rather than resist them. Oh no, I don't want to grow older. Everything moves in cycles, day and night, inhalation, exhalation, youth, aging. Trusting cycles means understanding that every phase of our human experience has purpose. It's really our resistance to the cycles that create discomfort. We could say that the ebb is as meaningful as the flow. The wave's got to go out before a new one can come in. It's important to just let ourselves be where we are without resistance. Sometimes I have to remind myself it's okay to be right here where I am right now. And what I've become intensely aware of lately is that space of non-resistance, it kind of opens up this place of peace. And in that space, peace is just very spacious. And in that space of peace, we have the freedom to set new intentions and to create new visions for our lives. And aging has definitely taught me to honor all the phases of life and to be joyous about the movement of life and the continued cycles of life. And I don't know what is going to happen as I leave this particular lifetime, but I know it's going to be great. And I'm still going to be moving on and reaching a new cycle. So I remind myself to be joyous about everything, all the phases, all the cycles. Solstice also teaches us to honor, and this is a biggie for me, it's to honor the old before we jump into the new. Recently, my husband has had some major health challenges. And at first, I really wanted to resist. I just tried to fix everything and just get us back to the way things have always been. And what I found is that that's not going to happen. So it's been very important for me to learn to honor the old before I start rushing into the new and to make peace with the transition. And it's been very helpful to just pause and recognize that things have changed and to give myself permission to grieve what is necessary to grieve and to find solid ground right where I am. I'm getting all teary. And what I found is that I need a minute to honor the old so that I can embrace the new from this fresh and really grounded in love perspective. It's important to take a moment of sacred contemplation, of sacred honoring, and in every chapter, in every new thing, and to let the old, I want to say, just to complete itself before jumping into what's next. It's so valuable to integrate the lessons, the wisdom of what we just walked through so that we can really rise up and without being tethered to the past, but gleaning the best of it. Otherwise, it just feels like spiritual bypass, and that isn't true growth or evolution. And I found that when I really try to hurry the transformation, I lose its depth. I lose its real meaning. So I've taken time to honor the life that we've had together, shared together, this person that I've been with for 26 years, so that I can allow myself to be where we are right now and to create a new vision so that we can move forward with where we are right now. Every phase of our lives has value, even if it isn't exactly how we had visioned it being. So winter solstice asks us to take a breath, to honor the old, to honor the natural cycles of life, to have faith in the promise of a new light to go within and to kindle that light within us, to make it brighter through our awareness and through our attention, and hold it with love and with consistency. That's really important. And allow that inner light to shape our experience from the inside out. Solstice asks us some questions. Where am I being asked to rest rather than push? I've had to ask that question. What is quietly forming in me, even if I can't see it yet? And can I trust the light? Whenever I use the word trust, I always think of our beloved friend Yvonne, who passed on this last month. Can I trust the light that is returning even before I can see it, even before it's visible? Solstice invites us to align with the rhythm of both the invisible and the visible worlds, because we're human and divine, and our ancestors have been doing this and gleaning the benefits of it for thousands of years. So that's solstice. Solstice literally means standing still, sun standing still. So we just pause and take a minute and integrate. So now let's turn to the metaphysical message of Christmas and the birth of the Christ light within us. And there are so many different ways we could approach Christmas metaphorically. I had to really pin it down and choose because I could have gone in many different directions. But I'm going to stick with the idea of the birth of the Christ light or the Christ consciousness, since we're talking about light this month. And the light within that we're speaking of is illumination. It's, as Lissa said in her opening, it's the awareness of the presence of God within us. Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote and spoke often about the principle of light and also the principle of the Christ. And probably all of us know that in Science of Mind, Christ is not a person. Christ is a spiritual principle. It's a state of unity consciousness. And I really had to think about this for a while, and maybe it's just me, but it's always been a little bit challenging for me to differentiate between humanity or life in general as an expression of the divine and the Christ consciousness within humanity. You know what I mean? Is there really a difference? And I think there is. It's subtle, but it's there. And here's what I've come away with. We are each individualized expressions of one source, and we express our divinity uniquely in our own individual way. We're centers of expressions for divine consciousness. The Christ consciousness in humankind, in all life really, is the perfect pattern, the blueprint or template, if you will, for the life of the divine. It's not just our oneness with God, it's the unifying thread that weaves its way through everything. It's our shared essence. It's a recognition that we're one with our source and a recognition that we're one with all of creation. It's all the same. Holmes told us that we put on the Christ to the degree that we surrender our limited sense of life to the divine realization of our wholeness and our unity with good spirit, God, creation. I think the Christ consciousness is an knowledge and acknowledgement that everything is God and we're one with it all. It's almost like the namaste, saying the God in me recognizes and honors the God in you, but that even implies separation. It's more of I am you. It's a kind of a subtle difference, but it seems powerful to me to see ourselves as one with all of creation. Just like I talked about when I sit in front of the ocean and I watch the waves, I'm one with the waves or one with the trees as I walk through the forest or the park or whatever. So when we read what it says in the Gospel of John that Jesus is the only begotten Son of God, we can say, yeah, that's true. Jesus was the only begotten Son of God. And we are all the only begotten sons and daughters of God, of life, of source, of love. There's only one life, and we're all living it. And the thing itself, as Holmes called it, is the inherent life within everything, connecting all creation to itself. And the recognition of the Christ is not only the recognition of our own divinity, but the recognition of the divinity within everything. The Christ is our unity in God. Recognizing the Christ in ourselves means recognizing the Christ in everything and everyone. We're woven together. It's a beautiful display of humanity and life. It's the Christ consciousness. Christ is the recognition of oneness, and not just the recognition, it is the lived experience of our oneness. It's what Meister Eckhart, the 13th century mystic, meant when he said, the eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me. There's only one eye. It sees itself in everything. Or it's what Jesus meant when he said, love your neighbor as yourself, or when he said, love your enemy. The Christ is the entire body of God, the entire body of creation. It binds us together in this divine expression. The recognition of the Christ is living from the spiritual principle of oneness. So when we speak of the birth of the Christ, we're not remembering something that happened, 2,000 plus years in Bethlehem. We're speaking of something that happens whenever we awaken to the Christ consciousness in our individualized human consciousness. The Christ is born whenever compassion replaces judgment, or love replaces fear, or when love becomes more than just an abstract idea, but a lived experience. And for me, this is the meaning of Christmas, the metaphysical meaning of the birth of the Christ light within us. I think it's subtle, but I think it's powerful. And since we are a science of mind, we can even weave in some language from science to understand the Christ consciousness. Quantum physics tells us that everything arises from one unified field, that what we call matter is not solid at all. It arises from this invisible field. As metaphysicians, we can think of this field as the unifying field of the Christ. And to use a familiar metaphor, we use it all the time, it's the same way a wave rises from the ocean. The wave is real, but it's never really separate from the ocean or separate from the other waves. It's a unified field of existence. Quantum physics tells us that everything is connected in ways we can't even see. And the principle of Christ consciousness tells us exactly the same thing. We live, move, and have our being within the one life. So let's talk about some practical application. How do we live the Christ consciousness? Well, especially during the holiday season, we can just use this one pretty simple and basic, but very applicable kind of practice. We can just pause long enough to remember that the same life that is expressing as me, as us, is the same life expressing as everyone I meet. We can call it the Christ in action shift. I thought that was kind of clever. when we're sitting in traffic or an airport or lines, when we're experiencing crowds or delays or impatience, or when we just have kind of a nervous system overload, instead of getting frustrated and saying, why is this happening to me? We can take that pause and remember we're all moving within the same field of life. We're all doing the best we can. And the most powerful thing, I am a presence of God's peace and God's love. Or, when we're in those family gatherings or with friends, and maybe some people are there that we're really not that crazy about, and our old triggers kind of pop up, when we feel like our expectations to behave a certain way are pressing in on us, we can move into our Christ in action shift. And it can look like, I'm not here to win approval or to defend myself. I'm here to be the presence of the Christ consciousness. We can remember, and to the best of our ability, I realize this is always a work in progress, that unity doesn't mean agreement. It just means not forgetting who we are while being with who they are. It's not always easy. Or how about this one? Sometimes holidays can kind of amplify feelings of loneliness or disconnection, and our Christ in action shift can be, I am held in a larger life than what I am currently feeling. And we know love doesn't deny pain, it holds it, it transforms it. Truth is, regardless of our spiritual practices, we will not always feel peaceful, and we won't always respond ideally. But each time we pull ourselves back to live and to activate that Christ in action principle, every time we remember our unity, even briefly, we reduce our stress. We soften the most difficult interactions. We ground ourselves and create an ability to respond rather than react. Christ consciousness is a spiritual principle that we all belong to. It's not something we have to conjure up. We're swimming in it. It's who we are. And it truly is the reason for the season, to use a very well-worn cliche. So I'm asking you to put on your Christ in action practices and move through this holiday season with a deep reverence for everything that has come before, for everything that is, and for whatever it is that we want to create in the coming year. This time of year, across all cultures, across all traditions, we really find ourselves gathered around the same essential wisdom, whatever holiday we're celebrating and whatever, tradition we belong to, the message is pretty much always the same. It's the light and the love of our Creator and our unity with it and with all of creation, our oneness within this unified foundation of life, let's call it. It's the light that never goes out, and the light that is inherent within us. So I just want to wish you to know for you, from the depth of the light and the love within me and my point of consciousness, my individualized point of expression for the one, from the brightest and the most connected and the most joyous place within me, I want to wish you just a wonderful, a joyous, and extraordinary holiday season. Knowing that the light of God within you will shine brightly, on your new year, and shine so brightly in your life that all of creation will be able to see it. You'll just be glowing. that you and your family and your friend and everyone and everything you touch will be blessed, will be joyous, and feel deep love. Because however well I know you, truth is, I love you all. So from that place, we just know together that all there is God, that all there is spirit, that all there is light and love and beauty and wholeness and a generous givingness that is infinite in its nature. And that we are not in relationship with it, we are it. We are one with it. It's intimate to us. It's personal to us. It is us. And that I speak my word for and about all of us, anyone that can hear me and anybody that can't, that this becomes the origin, the seed that we brighten and grow and cultivate within our own heart because we express who we are. This becomes the essence of of knowing who we are, so that it demonstrates and expresses in the world. And that as more and more of us hold this space, we transform our world. We don't push against anything. We don't resist anything. We flow with this ever-present good that is who we are and flows from us. So I just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, life. Thank you, love. Thank you, source. And I just rest. I give myself permission to take a rest and just allow the flow to happen. So from this generous flow of God's love, we simply say thank you. We call it good and very good. Allow it to be. And we say together, and so it is.
So it is.
All right. So glad to be here with all of you guys. I see a couple of people dropped off. That's okay. I think I know I am because I looked it up. Finally, I did something right. I looked it up. I looked up to see who is doing this sacred giving, and it's me. So I'm going to look I think we all know ways to give by now. So I'm not going to put that slide up because we know that we can either give by Venmo or we can give by sending a check to my address. And if you don't have that address, I can always send it to you. Let me put that slide up. Here we go. It's the affirmation of sacred giving. And here it is. So we can say this together. I give with a grateful heart, knowing that spirit is the source and supply and substance of all supply. I joyfully participate in the circulation of abundance. My offering blesses the world and returns to me multiplied. I am grateful and I am prosperous. And I know underneath there that we can't see, it says, and so it is. There it is. And I just want to say thank you to all of those who so generously give and continue to give and support our center. It really makes a huge difference and keeps us online. And it's just, it's participating in that spiritual cycle of giving and receiving and knowing that, life is just this endless continuation of giving love and giving abundance and receiving abundance. And it's just beautiful. So this week we have Christmas. It's a biggie. We are not having our class on Tuesday. We're taking a little holiday break for 2 weeks, this Tuesday and the next Tuesday. And tomorrow is my husband's 80th birthday. And so I am not going to be on the prayer call tomorrow. However, I will send out the link, and whoever feels like coming to pray can. I will be celebrating his 80th birthday with him. So that will be kind of fun. We're going to go up to my son's winery in Fallbrook, and he loves their wood-fired pizza. So we're going to have wood-fired pizza up at Montserrat Vineyards in Fallbrook. So, and then Thursday is Christmas, and I wish you all just such a Merry Christmas, no matter what you're doing. And then we'll see you again on Sunday. So I won't see you all week, but I will hold you in my heart and keep you in my prayers. And let's see, with that, well, I already prayed, so I don't feel like I need to do yet another spiritual mind treatment, but I will give great thanks. I will give a benediction of extreme thanks for the spiritual community, for the good that we do in the world, for the light that we are, for the light that each and every one of you are, and the beauty in your souls that I feel every time we're together. And I'm just so grateful for all of it. And I join you, I invite you to join me in knowing the same and just saying with me, and so it is. And we will invite Jessie to sing for us again.
Well, I figured I'd seal off the day with a little holiday cheer. You all know this song. It's quite easy to sing it. Thank you, Reverend Michelle, for your always insightful talks. You always bring the passion, too, and the good personal stories. You anchor it in. You make it so relatable. And my friend Kathy had to go, but she said she was just delighted to be here. And she said, what a beautiful community y'all have. So, well, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, when you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can't beat home sweet home. I met a man who came from Tennessee, and he was headed for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania, folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shore. From Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. Well, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, when you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can't be home sweet home. Let's do it again. I met a man who came from Tennessee, and he was headed for Pennsylvania with some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania, folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shore. From Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. That person must have been having the best day when they wrote that song, because I don't know anybody who says the traffic is terrific. Well, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, if you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays you can't beat home sweet home. Okay, now, before I end, I really like turning this little chorus into like kind of a lullaby, because we can always, as science of mind metaphysicians, say that home is in our, ourselves, our highest selves, our God selves. It's all around all the time. So it's kind of like we could turn it into like a little prayer. So I'm going to stop strumming like that and we'll sing, oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, If you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays you can't beat home sweet home. For the holidays you can't beat home sweet home.
Oh, that was so great. I love that. I love that you turned it into um a a new thought song, a meditation song.
You can find it
Oh my God.
everywhere. That's the beauty of New Thought. It's everywhere.
It is. It's true.
Literally. You can turn garbage day into New Thought.
I once gave a Sunday message saying it's all compost.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I wish I'd been there for that.
Everything is compost.
How
All right, I
fun.
am going to say goodbye to our recording people. I'm gonna turn that off. Here, let's do. Oh wait, there.